Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to TrepTalks. This is the show where I interview successful e-commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story, and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Pavel Cheshev to the show. Pavel is the co-founder of TimeFlip. TimeFlip is an IoT solution that assists people with personal time management and productivity control. It is an app-connected polygon designed to make time tracking as easy, intuitive, and flawless as possible. And today I'm going to ask Pavel a few questions about his entrepreneurial journey and some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to start and grow his business. So thank you so much for joining me today at TrepTalks, Pavel. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. My pleasure.
Likewise. So before I go into your story, because your product is a little bit unique, why don't you just share a little bit about the product itself? It seems like you have one there. Yeah, you can show it on the video. And then maybe kind of describe what exactly is the purpose of this product and what is the problem that this is solving?
Yeah, okay. I'll start a little bit like before that point, how we created it, because I was working with a fab lab, let's say small fab lab, doing some custom works, and we also ideated things around electronics and hardware applications like smart home controls, wearable devices, etc. And like from time to time, we would ideate around certain market area. How can we solve this or that problem, or how we can add something on this market with the use of hardware? And one day we realized, like in such brainstorming, that we all use time tracking apps somehow, but there is no device to do time tracking other than the smartphone. So we thought it would be a good idea actually, because time tracking is a sort of the not the most pleasant task to do. You know, people force themselves, and we are big fans of enchanted objects concept by David Rose from MIT. It's about making digital apps appear way more natural to humans through a physical interface, right? You are more kind of likely, or you like more to interface to interact with a physical object. So we came up with this idea, which is a kind of, think of it as a 21st century smart clock. So it's app-powered dodecahedron. You mark the faces with your activities or tasks. For example, this is meeting. If I have a meeting with you, I put it like this on the table, and it will record the time for the meeting. When I want to switch, I just flip it to another task, and it will record the time for another task. It's totally autonomous, so it has the built-in memory. You don't need to have the apps or screens to interact with it. But similar to fitness trackers, you can open the app, it will pull all the data from the device, and you will have the analytics, integrated with your calendars. You can export data, etc.
Very, very interesting. So, I mean, you're as you said, you're really bringing a physical interface to a traditional solution that's usually like digital or an app based. So very, very interesting. In the world of the product, there's always, this, these days there's this idea with the lean startup of, getting your idea validated and things like that. Because I'm assuming when you had this idea, of course, there's, creating the product itself, there's some costs associated with that, development costs and things like that. What did you do any kind of like a idea validation process before you actually decided to build it, or was it a relatively straightforward process to put this device together? So you said, let's just try it out. If it works, great. If it's not a big cost associated.
Yeah. We made a couple of mistakes early on, of course. I mean, it was and still is my almost basically first real startup entrepreneurial experience. So I had to learn everything on the way. So basically, we just ideated among us and us. So we did all the mistakes. We asked like friends and stuff like this. But what we did actually, what was good for us and what was sort of a real life customer development, and that we bootstrapped everything. So we didn't use any investors' money. So out of the pocket, our money, plus we understood that it's not enough on one side, and then we need to verify the demand. And we early on we launched landing page, and we just tried to get traffic on it and see how people actually react on that. And we started subscriptions, the collecting pre-orders on the landing page early on. So we already started sort of crowdfunding on our own landing from the people. So that was a good thing to do.
So you did not actually go to like a crowdfunding platform because I mean a device like this I think would make a good product for like a crowdfunding platform. But then I also think maybe this has kind of a niche audience. Like this is not like a very general purpose kind of a thing. So what was the decision for not going to like a crowdfunding platform directly?
Yeah, we wanted to be fast. That's one question. We actually were contacted by Indiegogo guys and saying like, go, start crowdfunding our platform. And the thing is, I don't know how many people realize it, but you really need a certain budget to start crowdfunding. It's not like free of charge for you. You have to have significant marketing budget to make a successful campaign. And you have to have your homework actually done too. So you go to the crowdfunding platforms when you have thousands of emails in the database already, right? So people already, so they don't want failures, right? At the platform, they want only success stories. So they want to make sure you are creating something that already is in demand and you have customers for it, or potential customers for it. So when we thought, okay, we have like a few thousands of emails, people already, paying us for pre-orders, we can do it on ourselves, and that's why. Maybe also because crowdfunding, I think it's kind of going down the slope of the hype that it used to have previously.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I think, a lot more competition there. People kind of pitching their ideas. So I think, yeah, you definitely need like your own audience beforehand and marketing budget to be able to promote that product. I mean, one thing that I mentioned briefly before is like, who is your target audience? Because to me, it seems like this is not like a mass, it's like you probably have a very specific audience who would be using a device like this, where there's an extra cost associated with it. Almost feels like maybe product people or people who have a very specific need of tracking their time. Or is it more generally applicable to people who are looking for general productivity as well?
It's both. Yeah, it's hard to define, and we are still kind of experimenting with different niches. But generally, yes, it's a knowledge industry, let's say white collar industry, all people having digital professions, mostly people that nowadays work on remote, hybrid schedules, self-employed, a lot of self-employed freelance people use us. And of course, professionals like software developers, designers, consultants, educators, lawyers, that also accountants, they also bill by hour. And that try to use this or that time tracking software, they are not happy with it. It's clicking on the screen, clicking button on the screen. You need to install certain software, or maybe it's a kind of spy software that monitors and you don't like it. So all these kinds of people, yes. So mostly like the core audience already familiar with the concept of tracking time, right, for the business. But also the people who would like to stay organized, productive, like students, for example. And one of the niches we discovered not so long ago is people, for example, suffering from ADHD, which is growing. This condition is growing right everywhere, especially in the developed world. So this can help them because you can use it as a Pomodoro timer, and you can focus on certain tasks, and you have because it's not just a simple Pomodoro tracker. It has an app, so you have all the statistics, all the data.
I mean, talking about Pomodoro timer, I think maybe have you ever thought about the different phases that you have in this device? Have you ever thought about including some sort of a timer there as well? So for example, once when you put this on a certain phase, it actually shows you how long it has been.
Yeah, we thought of this, but in terms of manufacturing costs, it will be costly stuff.
Okay.
Maybe one day, it's also it's on the roadmap as a potential feature. But let's say because we are bootstrapped, we do not produce in very big quantities to take benefits of the economies of cost. So in our case, if we introduce that kind of feature, that will be costly, just make the product cost much more than it does now.
Yeah. So the idea with this device is that when the person is sitting on the desk, they can easily use this device to track the time. But then let's say somebody is out of office or something like that. Of course, not everybody can carry this with them all the time. So when they're not in office or at their desk, they still can, whatever app they're using, they can still time track using the app directly. But when they're at the desk, they can use this one. Is that the idea? It's kind of a seamless experience, or?
This is the idea. The thing is, the app version that we have now doesn't allow this, but the one that we are releasing soon, yes, will allow you to track either with the app or with the device separately.
Okay. Because I mean, with this device alone, I think you're kind of constrained to the desk. If you're not at the desk, if you don't have the desired device, then you can't. It's
yeah, but it can be any desk. You can go to a cafe or whatever, any kind of office.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of, so when you got started, you said, of course, this is bootstrapped. Can you share a little bit about what did it take to really create the prototype version of it? Was it relatively straightforward? And then what did it take to bring the product to market in terms of manufacturing and things like that? Did you go to, I mean, for a device like this, I'm assuming the best place to go for electronics right now is really China. So can you share a little bit about, what that process was like for prototyping and then manufacturing for this one?
Yeah. We might not have started or might have done some mistakes early on in customer development, but the good thing that we decided to really validate everything really fast. So the first version of it was actually made even of cardboard. So we would sell a kind of cardboard cutout. The person would assemble. There was a chip inside. Assemble by himself or herself, and that was enough already to work with this kind of stuff. It was very cheap, so we can do it really fast. And because every element of this cost, like press mold, costs a lot of money if you want to do plastic injection and produce cases. So we have fortunately through our contacts we knew some people in China, and actually from my current team there is one guy who's constantly in China to kind of interface with the factories. We work with several factories. That's also a kind of safe strategy that you don't assemble everything at one place, right? So one factory is doing the electronics, the other is assembling. Then you also upload the firmware and test. So it was China. Luckily, we had initial contact from there, but I think it's not a problem once you start something like this. Start a landing page that has gained at least some popularity. You will be having lots of emails from Chinese suppliers to help you.
For sure. So when you kind of launched, what was your biggest market? Was it in your own country, or was it like you were getting emails or orders or interest from like a specific
No.
market first?
We aim straightforward. We aim towards US and Europe. It's still like roughly half. I would say that North America, like Canada also, so North America and Europe in total account for about 95% of all sales, I would say. And they're probably half evenly distributed.
Okay, very nice. In terms of investment, to bring this kind of idea to market, what would you say? As you said, this was bootstrapped, everything, getting your first, I guess, batch of inventory and everything. What was kind of your investment? I mean, I'm assuming you had one more co-founder, so two people. Like, what kind of investment did you make, and was that kind of your own personal money? And did you think there was like some risk associated with?
We had some business angels money initially. Yeah, sort of, but it's kind of a friend. So I would say maybe not totally bootstrapped, but it's still like very, very closely related people. And the initial investment, including the pre-orders, the money that we collected from the pre-orders, we spent about 100K US dollars on that. So it was pretty. Wow. We managed to do it pretty, 50.
Wow, I mean, 100,000 is still pretty significant, but I'm assuming you've kind of since then you've made that return on that investment. So initially, when you got the order, can you talk a little bit about what did you learn about the customer, and since then have you been what kind of marketing have you done since then to really drive new customer acquisition for this, or really to get this idea more, to bring more awareness to this kind of a product in the market?
Right. For us, well, okay, the very first step for me was, in terms of marketing, is to, since we were not on one of the crowdfunding platforms, the very first step was to go on Product Hunt and just post about the product. And of course, you cannot do it yourself unless you are a Product Hunt hunter, you need specific rights. So I found a journalist on Twitter, and I mean, I made a list of journalists on Twitter, contacted them, and one agreed to post about us, and that was a huge spike in traffic immediately to our landing page, and helping us collect and pre-order. Yeah. Then the next big thing for us was visiting CES Las Vegas. That I would recommend to everybody is doing some, some geeky tech stuff, some interesting hardware stuff. Just go there, because I think they still have this Eureka space, which is for the startups, and it costs way less than the normal exhibition space. So we spent, I think it was about $5,000 US, and you get the emails of all media, all potential business partners, retailers visiting. So it was very fruitful, and we actually were seen by TechCrunch at CES. So TechCrunch wrote about us.
Wow.
That already took off very fast after that.
Okay. Wow, very nice. In terms of your sales channels, have you kind of is your website kind of the main place where people can buy it, or have you tried to figure out other kind of like partnership or other ways of promoting this product as well?
Yeah. As you mentioned early on, that's a particular product that some might think it's a niche. Well, yeah, it's a niche product, but we hope that the niche is growing actually. And the thing is, we experimented with offline retail, but it's just hard to explain to people what it is about. If you just put it on the shelf, people don't get it
Yeah.
naturally. So mostly it's our website. We love organic traffic that we always try to get, through search engine marketing and also making publications, giving interviews like to you, and that's very, very helpful. That's one thing. We did experiment with a bit of ads on Facebook and Instagram, and we still do, but more for kind of tests rather than big campaign. So most of the traffic is still organic. And we love cooperating with dropshipping stores or any retailers specialized in this electronics, and we have similarly electronic gadgets, robotics, whatever. And actually in Canada we have a very, very good cooperation with robotshop.com. I don't know if you know about the site, but they're great. Robotshop.com, yeah.
Okay.
They sell like everything robotics. We are considering robotics for them as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a bit more than just robotics. So it's like all different kinds of gadgets there, and it's a great platform. We also have similar cooperations in Europe with a couple of dropshipping stores. So it's good, and if you can do it, if you can have it, my advice is to do it, because they also help you with the marketing a lot. And promotion, etc. What else? Yeah, the only thing we could try still for the retail is to do the more this more fancy model of retail, specifically designed for this geeky products like the ATA in the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are clones in Europe of that as well. We will probably try in Milan, Italy, soon, because they seem to have more reasonable conditions. Beta still is a bit, they want a lot of margin and a lot of marketing expense on our side. So I'm not yet sure.
From the, it's an interesting product. So from a product perspective, I'm thinking, and I'm not a tech, product person myself, but I'm thinking, this is a relatively a simple concept. I'm assuming any people who have become familiar with like the Arduino landscape or their platform, people can, if somebody wants to create this and connect it to IoT, I'm assuming it would be a relatively I don't want to say simple, but straightforward project. Like people can, if they want to, they can create it, right? Like it's basically you're just changing the orientation of this product and you're sending the data through IoT to an app. Have you thought, and it's a very interesting call, like from an applications perspective, there could be so many different applications of a similar kind of a device to do other things or interact with the environment or, do other activities. Do you think about adding like a different product to your business that accomplishes a different function, maybe different productivity function or something like that? Or you're completely focused on one product right now and really growing?
We are more focused on, on the product that we have now, but we want, of course, to, enlarge functionality for it a lot, also through integrations, for example, with fitness trackers, activity trackers, because our productivity obviously depends on our physical state just as well. So there are a lot of things we want to do around it, specifically about software, because this is just, in a way, you can think this is a particular way to also to sell your software, because it offers something else. Just think of, for example, fitness trackers, how many fitness trackers, physical ones, you can name 6, 7, maybe not more. And fitness trackers apps, there are myriads of those. There are like dozens, or if not hundreds, on the app stores. And it's the same here. When we started it, there was no physical device to do time tracking. Now we have 3 on the market, 2 other competitors. And but basically, if you think of time tracking apps, hundreds again.
Yeah.
So our idea further on, like we offer you this simple interface to do, like to make it easier for you, to make it easy and accessible to anyone, like who wants to track time, but just delays it because he doesn't like the app. But we want to have it smarter, and we want to, to have the app not just analytical, presenting you your data, but the app that would be educational for you. That will help you, that analyze your work pattern, your circadian rhythm, the data from other devices, and help you become more productive person in terms of actually making your work less, but accomplish the same in a shorter time and have a better work-life balance. So we don't want to, like our sales proposition, our customer proposition is to work less, actually.
Be more efficient,
Be more efficient.
Yeah.
Be more efficient, be more productive, because you can structure your day properly. Many people do, like most of the people do lots of mistakes about structuring their daily work, and we want to solve that.
This idea just came to my mind, and I'm very curious because, of course, this is a physical product, and because it's a physical product, it has a design to it, and of course, design informs functionality and so forth. Why a polygon? I mean, I'm thinking the same function could have been, so this polygon, I don't know how many faces. Does it have 8 faces or 12 faces?
12
faces. I mean, I'm thinking, couldn't the same functionality would have been achieved, like if it was kind of like just a calculator, kind of like a device with 12 different buttons, with different, images on that, and all you have to do is like just press the button that you want to time track. So why a polygon versus, like, let's say, a different kind of an interface form factor?
You can do buttons as well. I mean, we didn't really have the possibility to make all these kind of prototypes and test them, but that's what we asked people early on. What would be the easiest interface? It was like, they said it, sort of a sand clock, but a smart one.
Okay.
That's why polygon. About the number of sites, it's actually we also did tests on that very early on, the very first landing. So we asked people how many sites do they want, and initial, like the very it's not the first or second. It's actually we supplied almost simultaneously 2 versions. One, as I said, it was a cardboard one, and the other one was just, we would sell you the chip and provide you with 3D models for your 3D printer. So you can 3D print this or that shape and just insert the chip inside. But people prefer, like, I would say 80% would prefer a 12-sided device.
So it's
yeah, we had a cube, we had an octahedron with 8 sides and the decahedron.
What does the chip do? Is the chip really kind of recognizing the direction of of this structure, and is that how it detects which kind of side it's on? Because to me it seems like that's kind of the core component of this device, is the chip.
It uses accelerometers to understand its position in space, and to understand where it is now and how much time is spent on this position.
Okay, very nice. In terms of your market and fulfillment, to me it seems like it's European and US, or North America, as you said, 90% of your customers are. In terms of fulfillment, are you fulfilling all the orders from Europe, or like do you have different warehouses in Europe and US? And are there any challenges? Like, do you charge shipping charges in that as well?
Yeah, actually, we fulfill most of the orders from China directly.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it works pretty surprisingly well. So the costs are not that big. They were a little bit, well, not a little bit, pretty much bigger during the pandemic. That was a little bit painful. But right now they're going down, and they're okay. They're bearable. We also have with one of our kind of drop shipping retail partners, we have a opportunity to have some stock in Europe. So we have stock in Europe as well. We don't really have stock in the US at the moment, but we probably can if we see the necessity. But actually, we deliver within 3 weeks. So
okay, 3 weeks. Okay.
And that's already kind of standard delivery.
Okay.
in the cost of the product. If you want, of course, you can order something like FedEx, DHL, UPS, and you will get it faster.
Okay, so 3 weeks is kind of like a China-specific kind of carrier that would deliver that, but with an extra cost, let's say DHL can deliver it much faster.
Yeah, within like 3 to 5 days, I think you can have.
Okay. All right. So right now, I mean, is this kind of a side project, a side hustle for you? Like, do you spend 100% of your time on this, or this is kind of like a, side hustle that's running on its own? You've kind of created processes, and so you don't have to spend so much time on this. This is kind of creating passive income for you, and you work on something else. What is the vision for this business for you?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I would love it to be kind of self-operating. I'm still pretty much involved in this one, not full time because I do some kind of startup consulting, let's say, projects from time to time, and probably I don't know if. Okay, I will not talk about the future, but it would be nice to. They have it operating on just automatically, and I could do some other or start some other things. But for the moment, consumes like 60-70% of my time.
Wow, that's still pretty significant. I mean, 60-70%.
Yeah, maybe 70 is a little bit too much. Yeah, but like 50-60%, something like this. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, very nice. Is there something about this business? I mean, to me, it seems like a relatively straightforward business. So, the product, of course, came up with the idea. I think the most important part was the idea itself. Creating the item, I think it's probably relatively straightforward. Is there some aspect of the business that's kind of more complicated or challenging that does not seem to be challenging on its face value? Or is it, in your opinion, it is a relatively kind of, once you come up with the idea has a value, you create the product, and then you put in the market, and it's depending on the demand, it's kind of running on its own.
Yeah, you're asking like if it is easy to replicate if somebody
so let me ask you this question. Did you have you created some sort of a patent on this, or like if somebody
no, not really, because we investigated it's actually built on all the electronic components available on the market, so you can't really patent much about it. So basically, when your telephone can do the same thing,
yeah,
just it's much more complex and costly stuff, right? So,
yeah.
So it's not patentable, but I mean, patents. It depends of course on the market you are, but how much patents help in the fitness tracker area, for example? Nothing. Like people create. I don't know what was the first one, Jawbone or Fitbit. Like they obviously patented it. It didn't prevent anybody else from creating on their own. So that doesn't make much sense. It doesn't cost the effort. Doesn't worth the effort.
Have you seen any other competitors, so to speak, come up with like a similar concept? Maybe they've kind of seen your concept and improved upon the design or something. Have you seen any other products doing similar things in the market?
Yeah, we have 2 other competitors doing similar things. One is also shaped, but it has 8 sides.
Okay.
And the other is actually, like you mentioned, is a button. It's a button add-on to the PC. Yeah, you actually, I think they are now wireless, because initially they were like you need to have a cable and plug it into the PC and just go with the button.
Okay. Wow, I did the product development on the fly. Product ideation.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting.
So yeah, answering your question, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, maybe we were lucky. Maybe like we did right things at the right time. We went to the ECS, etc. But yeah, I don't. We didn't have. Of course, we had. I mean, there's a lot of stress when you do it, especially like from the very beginning. You're always, on the verge of burning all the money and not having the money to pay people, etc. That happens to every startup. But fortunately, as I said, we started pretty early on. That's what you need to do. So you are sure that something you're building has the demand, and you more or less can quantify it. You can maybe measure conversion and understand, project yourself maybe, and things like that.
How long did it take you from the moment you kind of came up with the idea to the moment you had like the first version of the product in your hand? So, everything that went from like having the idea to the product, do you remember how much time that took you, like maybe a year or more?
I think it was about a year.
Okay. So still a decent amount of time, I guess.
Yeah, but also, it's still, our problem is still that we didn't raise any significant amount. So if we had more money, of course, we could do faster.
Do you think it helped to have a co-founder or someone else who was kind of sharing the vision and working alongside you? Do you think that kind of helped the process, or do you think that if you were kind of the only person trying to bring this product to market, would have been easier or harder?
No. My co-founder brought a lot of expertise in this, and he also had a background in another hardware product, like in the 3D printing pen. So he already knew the stuff, and through him, we had contacts in China, for example. So
okay. So do you recommend, like, if somebody is trying to come up with or creating a startup, it's better to have a co-founder or maybe even multiple co-founders who are kind of complementing each other's skill set is probably a better way rather than going and doing something just on your own?
Yeah, I mean, I would not exclude the option if you do it on your own, if you feel confident and experienced, but of course, having a second and third opinion is very, very, very valuable. And also dividing the risk is kind of a smart strategy if you bootstrap everything. So
in terms of, there's always, like, as you said, in this, as a startup founder, or any kind of business, I think, it's inevitable that you're going to make mistakes. There will be failures, lessons learned, and so forth. What were some of your biggest lessons learned throughout this process of building this business, creating this product, and so forth? What lessons did you learn? What lessons can other startup founders?
Yeah, I basically, the lesson number one, I kind of underestimated the importance of support. I thought of it more as an auxiliary function, almost like we're developing a nice product and let's kind of pull all the efforts there. But your client is your best evangelist, right? So you have to have, and if you check about maybe TimeFlip, some reviews say that, oh, their support sucks. I mean, especially in the past, it took them like a couple of days to respond, or my email remained not responded. So that was an issue, and that actually, if you have a small problem, you're really making it big if your support doesn't function as it should. So that was number one. You should invest in your support, even though it's kind of burning the money that you want to spend on other things.
Yeah.
And the second thing is actually we wanted to also like test early on different things, and like test going to Amazon and start selling on Amazon. If you don't have almost perfect product, no bugs, no nothing, don't go there.
Yeah.
So
because
that's
very quickly you'll get bad reviews.
You have bad reviews. People there are not like your core audience that came to your landing page, because these people are your early adopters. They can forgive certain things. You can keep them waiting for certain features. On Amazon, everybody wants perfect product. You get bad reviews, and that actually fires back to everything you created before. So
yeah. I mean, I can tell you a personal experience very recently from Amazon. I bought a product which was an electronic product, a new idea. In fact, an improvement on existing products in the market, and it's actually a good product. So when I got the item, I think it was like $150 or something. I tried it out, good quality, everything is working as designed, but there was like one functionality that was not, they had mentioned it in their manual, which was not working as desired. And so I wrote to them, I got back to them on Amazon, and basically, I guess they didn't want to get bad reviews, so they pretty much refunded me the whole amount. So I think that's kind of, if you're on Amazon, you can assume that there is going to be a certain risk, and you have to be, as you said, your support has to be that great, where if you have received an inquiry from a customer, you're willing to like refund the entire amount, and you're going to eat that cost basically to kind of learn from that and improve the product maybe.
Yeah, exactly. The pressure of this platform is immense. You have to count that you don't actually have much rights or options to moderate the reviews. So either live with them or not.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, it could be a good thing if you can, I guess, make it as part of your learning strategy. If you're receiving feedback from customers, and even if you're refunding the money, if you can incorporate that feedback and improve the product, I think it can, in the long run, maybe it can help create a better market, I guess.
Sure, absolutely.
Now I'm going to move on to my rapid fire segment. In this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and you have to answer them maybe in a couple of words or a sentence or so. So the first one is, one book recommendation for entrepreneurs and why?
Okay, if we just pick one, I love Mom's Test. You know this one?
Sorry, which one is it?
Mom Test.
Mom Test?
When you test, like by Robert Fitzpatrick, I think, when you really test your product idea with your mom. I mean, you don't do it. It's actually,
no, I understand.
He's joking about not doing it.
Yeah.
Because many people would go, "Oh, mom, I have this friend, I have this brilliant idea," and he said, "Yeah, it's great," which is not correct, which is not what your potential target audience thinks. So the book teaches you about how to actually do customer development, how to ask people questions to understand what they want, not to sell them your product, not to pitch it to them, but to really understand their internal needs.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think
Mom Test, yeah.
Mom Test, yeah. No, I think that there should be easy ways for people to be able to get feedback on their products, like just to I'm sure there are organizations out there that facilitate that, but yeah, that's a very useful service.
It's better to do it by yourself. I mean, without any intermediary, for sure.
Yeah, an innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
In the retail or e-commerce
or tech
in general.
Product or idea.
I'm super excited, for example, about what Elon Musk does, of course, and in particular his brain interface. I forgot the name already.
Yeah.
Of that startup, because that's something
Neuralink.
Crazy. Neuralink, exactly. Neuralink. Yeah. So that's crazy, because they're almost creating different species, because we are still, with all the technology, all the myriads of data available right now around us, we are the same people as 1,000 years ago. So
yeah,
we can become more productive if we have that interface, unload certain tasks. So I think that's the next word, also in productivity.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that connected with something like, what Apple is now going to release next year. What is that device?
The VR, yeah.
The VR headset. To be able to really run a computer, a very high powerful computer, you just using your brain like that. You don't need to interface with your hands at all. I think that will be that's going to be something. Yeah. A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip?
Okay, TimeFlip for for myself. Yeah, I mean, TimeFlip is still more for personal use. Business-wise, what I use Trello, for instance, Notion. We use ClickUp also for software development. Well, yeah, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is also very, very, for your marketing efforts, for example, it's very, very useful.
Definitely, for sure. Another startup or business in e-commerce, retail, or tech that you think is currently doing great things? Another, yeah. Any other startup or business of product that you may have tried that you think is you think is doing
okay.
great?
OpenAI does fantastic things, but
yeah.
Well, generally, I would say, without saying maybe names, I don't remember, but I love people who try to make, if you speak about e-commerce and retail, to make it more sustainable, more eco-friendly, because it's still lagging behind a lot compared to other industries. A lot of packaging stuff, no recyclable materials. So all the guys that do solve this problem, like big thumbs up.
Yeah, and it's interesting that there's so much innovation coming, but there's still really not a proper solution for plastic, right? It's I think yeah, a peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to, or someone who inspires you.
Okay, the first one, trivial, Elon Musk, as I said, because it's just unbelievable how much one person can do. But if we speak about personal kind of connections to people that I knew personally, then I'm inspired by Mikki Kuusi. I don't know if you know him. He's a Finnish entrepreneur from Finland, and he created Wolt. Wolt is a food delivery which is big in Europe. That has been recently sold for $7 billion deal.
Wow.
Yeah, and he did it so he was the head of the entrepreneurship society of his university. Then he was the CEO of the major Nordic startup conference called Splash in Finland. It's a big one. And then this project, so within 11 years of his work experience after the school and the high school, he created that stuff. And it's crazy because it's not a particularly fresh idea to have a food delivery stuff, but it's obviously about his execution abilities to push this project to the space.
Awesome.
I think it's the biggest deal that the startup, at least deal or tech deal that Finland has had, maybe after Nokia had been sold to Microsoft.
Wow.
Or maybe, yeah.
Very nice. Final question: best business advice you ever received, or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
Okay. So think of many people in startup world, and also speaking with VCs, they are locked in this framework of solution and problem, but it's not so. It's very often much more than that. So because solution and problem is a rational thing. It's a rational space that we take care with our cortex, basically. But I'm reading a lot about brain science, behavioral engineering recently, and the best products, the most addictive ones, of course, they go to your limbic system, to your deep emotions, and create this, emotional feedback. So think of it rather than just problem and solution frame.
Yeah. That's a very interesting idea. It's like if you're trying to incentivize a behavior, create products that really talk to that limbic system and reward that limbic system. I mean, I can think about, in like health sciences or, nutrition and so forth. If there's a way to create products that kind of, the products that exist are kind of like, they do talk to the limbic system, but they're like in the negative way. But I think, if you can create products that promote good behavior.
Or they push you, like they kind of promote building habits where you force yourself from the rational perspective, but they're not actually addressing your limbic system. But if you're creating something like, okay, sometimes it's just a pure luck, like Instagram. Instagram is not a photo bank. It directly addresses your limbic system because it's a social validation, right? They didn't know it, but it appears to be that, and it just exploded.
Yeah.
So this kind of thing. Think of it that products are not always a problem and solution, and the best ones are not that.
In fact, I think most of the most successful products are not. You could have never imagined them what they turned out to be. It's like it's almost an accident, or how people started using a certain product, and that's what. And then only afterwards you can kind of rationalize it or kind of rationally improve upon it. But sometimes the example that you gave with Instagram or TikTok and these kind of lights, they're almost like accidents in a way. So
right.
Well, Pavel, thank you so much for your time today. Those were all the questions that I had. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for the product that you created, promoting productivity. So yeah, I really, really appreciate your time today, and thank you so much for joining me today at TrepTalks. I really appreciate your time.
Likewise, thank you for the invitation and all the best wishes for your show.
Awesome, great discussion, and all the best wishes for you.